Welcome to the wild side, where bad movies get the love they deserve. Today we're talking about 1995's Mosquito, starring Gunnar Hansen.
And if you don't know who that is, that's the original Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
From, what is it,
Yep, the
70...
OG.
When was it, 72? 73?
70, 73.
73. So, yeah, the OG, the original one that started it all. Who wants to plot crunch this thing real quick?
Okay, the story is about a group of people. Some of them are completely dumb, lost, and idiotic, and one of them happens to be one of the biggest smart-ass women on this planet, which of course is a trope that went on and on.
That's
for
way
horror
too
movies.
much. Okay, I'll give you an example. This is about a bunch of idiotic, stupid, bad actors that get lost in the woods with giant killer insects sucking their blood, and shenanigans ensue. See how easy that was?
I think I did mine pretty well.
You were going on way too much with, like, little details that we can get into during the dissection.
Hey, I was trying to be funny.
Hey,
Well,
give us a
welcome.
break. This is like our first time seeing it. How many times
That's
have you
true,
seen
that-
it? Wow, man.
Once when I was
trying
8
to
years
be
old,
funny.
and then once a few months ago when Tony got me the link. So twice, this being 3 times. I just have a better memory of it for some reason.
The only regret I have with this film is that they got no boobies.
Yes, they did. Did you forget about the?
You didn't notice?
No. I noticed. I'm just saying, like,
Oh, like
nice
they
stuff.
weren't really. Like,
They weren't good ones.
not a
Yeah.
nice fit.
They weren't a very
Yeah,
good
not
pair.
nice. No.
No, I did say when that happened that there was a. I've seen better pairs. Just wait until you hear my plot crunch for Deep Rising. It's gonna blow your mind. It's gonna be hilarious.
Oh boy, I bet.
What we're doing is instead of going live, we're recording some episodes in advance for the month of October. That way, we don't have to worry about coordinating our schedules as much. That way, we can get these episodes scary and out on October without having to worry about scheduling conflicts. So we start out in this thing. I didn't realize this was a sequel to War of the Worlds. It starts out with like a spaceship crash landing in the swamp, and then some mosquitoes sucking on the blood of a alien, which causes them to grow gigantically. And when I say gigantically, imagine a mosquito this roughly the size of a Labrador Retriever or a Rottweiler, and they'll be in the ballpark of how big these suckers are. This movie's very fun. It's very stupid and not very well acted, which just adds the mwah to it.
It's so bad, it's good.
That's the
One of
charm,
the- Yep.
like the Leprechaun movies.
So, okay. Yeah, it starts after that. It cuts to these two main characters. These two characters driving along, and then out of nowhere, in the middle of the road, and this road is like in deep woods. It's way off the beaten path, and it just cuts to these people in this car, and a mosquito one of these giant mosquitoes flies out in front of them and just smashes into their hood of the car, and like just splatters, and the mouth of this thing, which they go into detail and constantly remind you what it's called, into the what they say it was the carburetor or radiator, and
Yes, radiator.
just destroys the radiator of this thing, and like this woman is the definition of a stupid smart person. Because like she recognizes the proboscis, describes in detail what a proboscis is and what insects uses them, and then looks at the dead body of this giant mosquito and is like, "But I don't know what the heck this thing is." I was just like, Are you freaking what?
The most she says, like, this looks familiar.
Should be quite obvious to her.
And like this is very important because this comes back to play later in the movie, almost scene for scene identical. And then she was like, oh, "It's a giant mosquito," and everyone looks at her like, "Yeah, where the heck have you been?"
Yeah.
We come to the camp where we meet one of the main characters, Hendrix. He's like a lazy park ranger who's asked to take care of the mosquitoes.
He is a horny, lazy park ranger.
Yeah, I know. He's got his binoculars on, and he's just staring at the people who are having a good time going out, having barbecues and playing volleyball.
Mm-hmm. I spiked the volleyball. Spike it.
Oh yeah. Shake him good. I like Hendrix. What are you doing here? I thought I saw a rabid badger.
And so Hendrix has to go meet the chief of the the park rangers, and I honestly thought this guy would be I thought he would have stuck around longer in the movie, considering how much he hated mosquitoes.
No, this dude.
And as Wildman put it, he has like a blood vendetta against them.
Like in my head, I was like, this guy has been having a blood feud with mosquitoes, like Hatfields and McCoys. It's just been going on for generations. They don't even know why anymore. It's just like he's letting this mosquito like suck his blood. He picks it up by the wings and like puts it in this like wooden box that folds on itself and then just slams his fist on it like as hard as he can and makes the whole desk shake. I was just like, dang. Yeah. Like, I hate spiders, but I wouldn't go like with a bloody passion, but I wouldn't go that far.
Mm-hmm. Where he gets a little masher box specifically made to squish mosquitoes.
And like he opens it back up and we just see the remains of like mosquitoes of days long past all over the inside of this thing.
The chief goes on about how like the mosquitoes at this time of year they're entering their blood fever, which coincidentally is the alternate title for mosquito. So he's going on that big old spiel on Hendrix, like they got to keep the camp visitors safe, to like make a perimeter with the smoker, or like the what is it called? But basically the smoking bug spray
and a giant prototype cannon.
Proton pack.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Proton kit pack.
And it's fun. And instead of setting a perimeter like the boss said, he basically starts right in the middle of the camp and starts fogging the whole place up while people are trying to relax, have their food. Even one guy, like he's about to have a hot dog, and it gets like knocked right off the buns.
Yep.
I like to think that Hendrix is just trying to get fired so he doesn't have to be there. Or he's just like, or it's one of those things where like that's just how he is and everyone knows this and just puts up with it.
Yep. Even the music knows this.
Yeah.
Like having like this Cub Scout morning salute. But it was like it's played in a way where Hendrix thinks he's all of that, but everyone else
knows
sees him
he's
as
not.
a nuisance.
It kind of like this Boy Scout kind of jingle if it was in the style of Bulk and Skull from Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Yep.
and okay, Hendrix is the worst actor in this movie, but he is the most entertaining in this movie. And
yeah, you gotta admit that.
And like how do I put this? He is me if all my negative personality traits were my dominant personality traits. Let's put it that way.
When he says that, guys, That's saying a lot.
The next characters that get introduced are the 3 bank robbers. Who
The
wants to
three
talk about them?
stooges, the 3 redneck inbred stooges.
Yep, Earl, Junior, and Rex.
I'm pretty sure only one was inbred, but that's semantics.
No, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure at least the small 2 were inbred. Well, you know,
Yeah,
I
except
can't
for
read
Earl.
or write.
His name, because his name was his name was Earl.
No, Earl is the only one that has any kind of like semblance of a brain.
Yeah, I know.
For the most part, we'll get to that. But for the most
Earl
part,
who's an inbred, because Earl's smart, because his name is Earl. That's what I said.
I'm not even going to glorify the my name is Earl joke.
Oh, yeah.
But they pull out in this like opening wooded field opening and start checking their map and stuff, like pulling over, stretching their legs, and well, Rex goes off to find go and use the bathroom. Well, okay, all he has to do is just go behind one of the first trees over there and just and do his business. He walks in an undetermined amount away and finds a porta potty. He finds a porta potty. Okay, fine, whatever. And then like he pulls down his britches to go do some paperwork. And he looks up and there's a freaking giant mosquito in the top of the porta potty. How did it get in there? Like, I know it's not learning enough to open doors. Not like the raptors. Well, like the raptor, like it's no raptor. You can't figure out how to open doors, and there weren't any windows in there big enough for him to get through. How to get in there? But then like he sees it, freaks out, and like starts to like run out of the porta potty and through the woods, and like pulling up his britches, and like Earl and Junior come in and like
Hear him screaming.
they hear screaming, like trying to figure out what's going on, and like Junior shoots at the bug, and bug dodges and kills Rex by accident. And Earl pushes Junior out of the way and just blasts this mosquito and has it explode.
Like, it's a funny and sad sight. Like, Rex is trying to get away. Tweedledee is trying to get away while Tweedledum is like trying to focus the gun. The mosquito is like right behind Rex, just long enough for Junior to take the shot and shoot his cousin in the back.
Yep.
I don't care, like, but to be honest, he probably did him a favor. See if you see the other corpses.
Golly, dude, like these things are beautiful. After that, we cut to these 2 guys on a rowboat in the middle of the lake and fishing, and like they're doing their thing, and they start to actually get attacked by mosquitoes, and like one guy jumps in the lake. The mosquitoes are like trying to puncture him through the surface of the water, and he's just swimming away. His poor buddy is stuck on the boat with the mosquito on top of him, just plunges his needle mouth into the dude's eye and starts just draining.
Mm-hmm. And like the effect, the way these mosquitoes are made, like the way these animatronic mosquitoes are made, like they are pretty anatomically accurate.
It's amazing.
Like, they even have the sleeve that like keeps the proboscis safe before they feed.
And not only that,
Yep.
like they have the like their butt area, like the abdomen, or whatever, like is clear, and like you even hear them say, like, look, they even have the abdomen sacs or whatever, like that holds the blood. And like when these things suck your blood, you actually see the blood going through the proboscis and into these abdominal sacs. It's really, really amazing how they did this. And it should be mentioned that at this scene, the effects artist essentially just quit. He's like, hey, I'm gonna go get some cigarettes, and he just never came back. So they had to hire someone brand new, and the dude couldn't swim. They like tied cylinder blocks to the dude's feet and had him out in the water to like stabilize the boat. for this scene. I was just like, when I found that, I was like, that is unsafe, and they did not care. Hey, if the money is there, we do not care.
Oh, okay. Now, before we get any further, can I narrate the next part?
Sure.
The part with the you know what scene.
Oh.
Let me practice my Don LaFuente voice. In a world later that night. Okay, perfect.
The tent scene.
All right. Later that night, a couple was spending the night together in a tent, and they were going down and dirty.
They were getting frisky.
Well, yep. When all of a sudden the man needs to leave the tent after he got getting down and dirty, and wanting to get all the beer and all the other stuff that he might have in his body out of his system. When all of a sudden the woman doesn't know it, but a mosquito enters the tent and goes out to impale the woman through one of her butt cheeks. Her lover is then attacked. The next morning, a meteorologist named Ray.
No. We have to break down that scene. We have to break down that scene.
We do?
Yeah, we have to break down that scene because there's some things that need to be addressed.
For example, I never thought seeing giant mosquitoes flying at you like you expect that'd be pretty creepy. You'd be surprised how creepy it would be to have the mosquito crawling at you. Like you thought they were up close and personal before. The fact that they're on all six legs, making their way towards you.
And
I don't know, something about it makes it more creepy. Like
and
they're
uncomfortable.
And when we say they're getting frisky in this thing, okay, I've been called.
Yeah, they're getting down.
Okay. Let me put it to you like this. I have been called an animal in the bedroom. Okay, let's just say that right there. I have been called that. But
you're an animal.
You shut your mouth. but I can tell you what I'm not. Nasty, all right? Like these two are like going at it like just dirty animals, all right? Like so there's food, there's clothes, there's just there's clothes on this thing. The floor of this tent is just covered in food all over the place. Chips that you like roll over on 2 half-eaten hot dogs and just keep going. Yep. Okay, first off, if I were to do that with my partner, that would be stopped. Like all fun would cease until that got cleaned up. In fact, it wouldn't even be like that. Like if there was stuff on the bottom of the tent, at the very least, we would just kick it all out of the tent and deal with it after we had our fun. But
why not fine dine and wine?
Take a bite on the go
while you're eating.
But like
have sex while you're eating. That's the best.
That's disgusting. Okay, a little side tangent. Now that you brought that up, I have never understood the appeal of food and sex. I love both, not at the same time. Because I can't think of anything more disgusting than a woman drenched in chocolate syrup. That is disgusting. All right. I love both of them. I am not going to have both at the same time. Let me put it to you that way. Okay.
But you're a Texan though. My aunt, who was a Texan for 30 years, says that one of the things that people who live down there want to do, the main thing they all want to do is eat and plow.
Not at the same time. I mean, Jesus said there's a time and a place for everything. That's like the bedroom is not the time. Like no, all right. So
I mean, I have OCD, and I'll say that I won't reject that.
Anyway, like I wasn't raised. Like I may be a Texan. I may be a Texan, but I wasn't raised in a barn. All right.
The point is. They were getting down. I mean,
dang, son of a bitch!
Oh,
This is what we're trying to. We're recording an episode for a podcast after a movie we just saw.
Oh, damn, my bad. I'll get out of here.
No, it's fine.
no!
Oh well.
You shouldn't have told him anything.
I left a sign in the chat.
Ah.
You never saw the freaking sign, did you?
It even says everyone about to start movie. Get in while you can. After which,
Do not disturb.
Recording in progress. Oh well, that's what editing's for.
So,
usually-
Decker, you owe me $20.
No, you said that was about. You said that was about Uzumaki. You didn't
Yeah,
say anything about Artorias.
Apparently, Uzumaki still didn't see the sign, though.
Boy, I just came on the laptop and decided to go in. That's what happened with me.
Did you see the sign? Yes or no?
No.
$20,
Okay.
Decker.
Fine.
I love that he paused for a second. Okay, so this guy, they stop doing their frisky disky roll around, and the guy gets up to go relieve himself, right? And well, as he's gone, another mosquito crawls in the tent, and the lady thinks that it's him, until she looks up and sees like a giant mosquito looking at her face to face, and she just flips out and like starts kicking it and tries to rolls over and tries to get away. Well, this mosquito just plants its needle mouth in this lady's dumper and goes like.
That's disturbing.
It was disgusting.
Oh, and funny. Right after that, Karma was a bitch because like the guy after he was taking his leak, he came over, like sees his girlfriend screaming. He sees a shadow of the mosquito or whatever this thing is. He's about to nope out of there. That's what it looks like. He's like, she's not that hot or something.
No, she wasn't actually. Neither was he.
Yeah, they both deserve each other. Then
the point is because he was just thinking about taking off, he gets swarmed by mosquitoes. Like a whole bunch of them.
And all you hear him say is "motherfucker," and it just cuts him off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his death was the most deserving.
I know it's funny. Like I was like the mosquitoes were a little late to the party, but it's like they almost followed Jason Voorhees' handbook. Like you sense coitus, murder. Okay, here's a neat question, Wildman.
Yes.
Say compared to like when you first watched it and watching it now, is there anything like say you appreciate more as you like you understand how movies work or like with a certain knowledge? Was there anything in the movie that you appreciate now more than you did when you first saw it when you were like a kid?
Yes.
Or was there like some things like what are some memories that like when you first watched it but they still stood out to you?
Okay. I know where you're going with this.
Kind of a twofer.
Yes. Okay, so to answer the first question, in terms of like what I appreciate now, and what I know about filmmaking now, probably the best part of this whole movie is the creature effects. Because, for one, if it was done today, it would all be CGI, which they can still put a lot of effort into, but all you're doing is sitting behind a computer desk and screen, like, typing code. Whereas with this, since it's practical, the amount of detail they had to make for these, and they didn't make just one, they had to make several, and they had to also make several more in case something happened to the ones that they had. So they had to have several of these, not only on screen, but on standby in case one of their models got broke. So that in itself, and Not just that, they had the level of an atomical anatomy detail that they put on these things that they didn't have to do just shows the level of dedication. And this was not a big budget movie. In fact, even back in the day, this was considered a low budget movie. So to put that a level of detail in the creature effects that are all practical, animatronic, and puppets is phenomenal to me. And in terms of memories looking back, there is a scene that we haven't gotten to yet that I remember very differently when I first watched it when I was 8 years old compared to now. There's a scene where Gunnar Hansen, Earl, is having a girl held hostage in a travel trailer and trying to, whatever stupid reason he's doing it, but like he like cuts her, nicks her face with a hatchet. I remember him saying this line so much more menacingly as a kid, saying it more along the lines of, "You try that again, the next cut's gonna be deeper." Like I remember in like much more deeper and threatening. Now he says like, "You try that again, pretty boy, and the next cut's gonna be deeper." I'm like, wow, he was so much scarier when I was a kid. But like that's the main one in that terms that stood out to me. Where did we start at? We haven't even gotten to the ranger station yet.
Yeah, the last thing we did, that small scene with like the people having coitus in the tent and then getting killed by the mosquitoes.
Yeah, coitus. Okay.
The next scene is like they Ray and Megan meet Parks, the meteorologist.
Oh, I forgot all about. Y'all can narrate that.
All right then. The next morning, Ray and Megan meet a meteorologist named Parks, who's willing to drive them to the park.
So this Ray guy, he looks like bootleg knockoff Patrick Swayze, all right? And that's what we're going to be calling it, is like bootleg Patrick Swayze, or just Patrick Swayze, because that's what he looks like. Okay, I'm sorry, continue.
It might like depending on who you ask, that might be better than his regular name,
Just
Tim
Ray?
Lovelace. No offense to anyone with the name Lovelace.
Well, is that the actor's name, Lovelace?
Yes, Tim Lovelace as Ray.
That's funny. Oh my gosh,
Anyway.
that's funny.
Anyway, as they're driving, Parks is explaining how he's a meteorologist looking for, a meteor that happened a couple days before.
They think it's a meteor. They don't know that it was a UFO crash. They just think it was a meteor. We got to make that clear, because
You're right.
They refer to it the rest of the time as a meteor. They just don't know what it actually is.
Yeah, they never find.
Yeah, they never find out either.
Yeah, like as the viewers, we might blink and miss. Like we might blink and miss it.
Yeah.
But yeah, but as for the characters, nope, never find out about aliens. Never. I wouldn't say it never crosses their mind, but never aside from like one line, no.
It sure as heck wasn't Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
Hendrix, I love you.
Yeah.
So much.
So anyway, Parks is talking about how his job, he chases meteors and like studies them, like what they're made of and all that good stuff. They go to a rest stop. I mean, after Ray looks at the, I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's basically the radiation meter. Kind of like
I think it's a Geiger counter.
Yeah, kind of like a Geiger counter. It doesn't have the same exact sound, but it's basically the same thing. He goes to investigate. Parks goes to investigate while Megan and Ray wait in the car. And poor Megan, while she's like looking over the bridge, enjoying the view, she sees the boat of those two fishermen that were attacked by the mosquitoes, and she sees the drained corpse of the guy that was stabbed through the eye. He looks like a zombie covered in slime.
You know what they use? You know what they used to achieve that effect with the green slime of the saliva?
Gack.
No, they used KY jelly mixed with glow light fluid.
Huh. That's funny.
Oh yeah, whenever stuff like that is on movies, most of the time it's done using KY jelly with something. Even like the aliens from the xenomorph aliens are usually covered in KY jelly. That's what's dripping off their mouths.
Considering what their heads kind of look like, that does not surprise me.
Well, that may be a lot more of an inside on set joke, but like they were trying to make them look all gooey and stuff. So like, yeah, KY jelly is just used for that kind of stuff because it's gooey.
No. It's like what works.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, like, to clear the record, whenever I see the xenomorphs from the Aliens franchise, I don't go like, oh, their heads look like I don't go around saying, haha, their head looks like a dildo.
I know that's what they're supposed to be modeled after, but I never saw that as a kid either. Even now, like, not really. If they did something to like looks like a ball sack, okay, maybe, but like, no.
The point is, I don't see it as suggestive, but I am aware of the joke.
And like how like that's what they were using with what H.R. Geiger was doing.
Yeah.
And then I found out how, like, here's the funny thing. When I found out, like, another tangent, but like when I found out how the stuff with the eggs came about, I was like, Geiger, you're a freaking idiotic retard. So what he originally wanted was them to open up and look like the inside of a vagina. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then like everyone was like, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. That this is for the movies and all that, and Christians will lose their minds. I'm like, so he made look like a cross that opens up, like, haha, I'm destroying your like my creation is destroying the cross or whatever. I'm like, first off, as a kid, I never picked up on that. I never picked up on that even now until that information was revealed to me. Because first off, that does not look like a cross to me. It looks like a surgical incision cut or whatever you want to call it. That's what it always looked like to me. And then opening it up, I'm like, Giger, you're retarded. So it was just
like it was one of those things where like that should have been more of an inside joke and not a gotcha.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, like I happened to turn it on its head. I was like inspired, and it just like it happens to have the 4 lines.
Yeah,
I just noticed that or something.
Like it's one of those things where like if that's what you're gonna do, you really failed at making it look it, because like it looks like I can kind of see like the incision lines are different lengths. Two sides are longer where the cross section is shorter. Okay, that's about cross-like as it is, but it never looked like that to me. It always looked like a surgical incision cut. That's what it always looked like. Heck, and growing up on stuff like graboids and all, like with how like their mouths are segmented and all that, I was like, I never picked up on that either. I was just like, with the graboids and how their mouths are segmented, I was like, oh, it's just one of those kind of things.
Yeah, it just looked like alien anatomy.
Yeah, so I'm like,
no pun intended. I think.
So it's just one of those stupid things. I'm like, so the park. We were about to rescue, what's his name? Not Hudson. Hendrix.
Oh wait! Don't forget. So listeners, remember how I mentioned how like the corpses that looked like they were drained of slime. I mean, they looked like they were
slimed.
Yeah, they looked like they were slimed. It's not just an artistic choice; it was to show that apparently the mosquitoes have radioactivity in them. And of course, like whenever radioactive stuff is used, green is just the typical color.
That's right, because they find that the victims' bodies are radioactive.
Like the Geiger counter goes off when they try when like Parks and the crew like bring the boat in to get a better look, and like the Geiger counter is like right next to the body. It's going nuts, and so they decide to like call the police, like have them investigate, and that is when they head to the park and we see the carnage.
Which all these people are like, they didn't have the effects budget to like make that many corpse puppets. So like what they did was like have all these extras just laying on the ground with little makeup all over them, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Like they weren't quite the slime covered zombies like the other characters.
They weren't the sucked up mummy that a lot of them that most of them are.
But to be fair, they did look like they were pale. You could tell where like the wounds were. Is like yeah, that still looks like not as much effort, but that's still convincing of like say a recently deceased body.
Mm-hmm.
And poor Parks, there's a part where when he first when the camera pans up to him, he looks like he's gonna be sick.
Yeah, he's like holding his mouth, trying to keep it all in, trying to keep from upchucking and all that. It's wow. Mm-hmm. And then like Patrick Swayze and his girlfriend run across a upside down boat moving around, and they pick it up and find out that it's Hendrix, and Hendrix like trying to gas them with his eyes closed, thinking that it's mosquitoes. He's like, "Oh, hey guys, how's it going? You gotta get out of here, you know." He doesn't do it like that, but that's essentially what he's saying. He's more freaked out than anything. Then they run across another. Okay, here's where the beginning of the movie comes back to play. Where the scene at the beginning of the movie where they run over the giant mosquito in the middle of the road. Here's where it comes back, like because at the first time she's like, it describes all the parts of the mosquito and the proboscis and all that in great detail, and looks at the dead animal and is like, I have no idea what this thing is. Well, here's another one dead right in front of her, and she's still like and they all like she's coming up, and they already said like it's a giant mosquito, and she comes over and kneels down right in front of it and like examines it for a good minute or two, and she's like says the whole scientific Latin name for it, and like it's a giant mosquito, and they all look at her like, yeah, we already said that, stupid. Mm-hmm. And like I just
it's an Aedes aegypti. What? Yeah. It's a giant mosquito. What do you think we said?
Yeah, and I just Parker's just looking at Patrick like as if to say like, you're really getting with this chick? Like she's a Nimrod. Hey man, like she's good in bed. That's all I need. It's like, you need help. I know.
Don't we all?
And like, and like, oh gosh, like this guy. Okay, what do we got? Like, okay, so they hear the animal, the mosquitoes coming in the distance, which is signaled by this noise. Like, yeah, and
it sounds like a sound effect rather than mosquito buzzing.
Yeah, but they get into a giant
like an RV,
an RV, and like they start booking it. Well, night rolls around, and they run into Junior and Earl. Junior, I think, is the actual best actor in this entire movie. He's like he's playing the part of a inbred redneck idiot that is terrified of everything going around him, and he does it so well you actually believe it. So it's he's the best actor in this entire movie. But he dies for our pleasure. They pull over, try to see what's going on, and they hold them at gunpoint, and then like everyone starts piling out of the RV as they're trying to get in and like take them by surprise, and like Junior like he looks like a creeper that just doesn't know any better. Because he sees the girl, and he's like, female boobies. Like, he doesn't say that, but he might as well have. That's when Hendrix like steps out and hits him with the butt of his gun, right in the face.
It's like the little chicken has some backbone to him.
he just jumps out of the RV and like wide stances with his hunched over like kind of thing. I was like, you're getting way too into this, and you're like, don't know how to look cool. I love it.
Yeah. So like after the failed robbery attempt, they're trying to figure out what to do with Earl and Junior. They decide they can't leave them, but they are going to tie them up, make sure they don't do anything stupid. But they gotta hurry because the mosquitoes are like right behind them.
So they get them in there and they start driving off. Well, they start getting attacked by the mosquitoes, and they're blowing holes in the ceiling and the sides and the windows and the bottom of the RV. And I'm like, you better be careful. You're going to hit the fuel and the fuel tank and blow y'all selves up. Ahmed would be proud. But
yeah.
But
what one mosquito actually managed to pop a tire, and
that comes in a bit.
Body is like holding on, spinning around,
comedic Looney Tunes style. But before that, a mosquito gets inside and like starts attacking Junior, and he is screaming and shrieking for dear life. And like, this is what I'm talking about, where like, I believe this man is legit terrified for his life up against this thing. This is also the scene I was talking about that I remembered very differently as a kid. Gunnar Hansen gets free, and who is playing Earl, and he hacks the mosquito on Junior to pieces. And then he gets behind the woman and grabs her and holds her hostage with the hatchet to her face, and like. He's essentially still trying to hijack this whole trailer in the midst of a chase scene with giant mosquitoes. Not really the best of ideas.
I didn't realize they were like thieves until I saw the sack of money.
No, yeah, they're not bad guys.
But it's like why are you trying to do a hostage situation now? Don't you have like bigger priorities, like staying alive?
Yeah.
Don't you want to wait till everyone's tired and then try to pull the hostage thing?
Survival of the
It's like, no, we got somewhere to go. We got to go there now.
It's survival of the not so fittest. But like, this is the scene where I remember him. So he to prove his point, he like nicks her cheek with the hatchet, because like Ray tries to get the hatchet from him, but he nicks him on the arm, and like he nicks her to prove his point. And I remember him as a kid going like, next time you try that, pretty boy, the next cut's going to be deeper. Like, much more deeper and menacing.
He was trying to be tough, but he sounded monotone at the same time.
Yeah, like, very monotone. I don't know why, as a kid, I remember it being so much more menacing than how it really was. I remember, like, when I saw it for the first time in, like, 20-something years, a few months ago, I was like, I was shocked and flabbergasted at this scene, because I was like, I remember it being so much more menacing. I was like, really?
Sometimes when you watch them for the first time, it sounds like the way that you're remembering it, but then when you go back, it's not. I do that sometimes when I go back and I rewatch movies.
Also 8 when I first saw this too, so that could have something to do with it. And I had like grandpas and great grandpas that were very old but very strong and stout men with very like authoritative voices, so maybe that had something to do with it too. I don't know. But,
respect my authority. My
and
authority.
like Gunnar Hansen in this movie was very old and very, but like he was old, but he can still throw a hefty punch, And like, so he was, just because he's the kind of guy that he can still mess you up if he wanted to. So like, I guess, and because I had some grandpas and great grandpas like that, I wonder if that had something to do with it. I don't know. Anyway, she grabs this broken proboscis on the counter and just stabs him in the gut. And like, he lets go, and she's like, he just kicks him in the balls, and he just like goes down Looney Tune cartoon style. And like, that's when the Mosquito pops the tire, and they crash sideways, and they go to get into this sewer system, I guess, drainage sewer system of some sort.
Yeah.
And Junior goes back to get the money. Well, this is the best kill of the movie, because he gets stabbed by another mosquito, and like, this thing must have been sucking extra hard too, because like his skin gets just like conformed to his skeleton, and he's like, it's because it's sucking it so hard. The eyeballs just start to pop, and they just literally pop out of his socket, and then after a few seconds explode. And I was just like, and you were saying like, I don't think they would do that. I think they would shrivel up like raisins. I was like, shut up! Don't ruin the kill of the movie.
No, I think it said like, I think there wouldn't be enough for raisins.
Yep.
But whatever. They get into the sewer system. And they have like a pretty decent standoff. Like they're trying to find a way out, but they're basically like all the tunnels have mosquitoes coming in. They start like unloading the shotguns at all of them, and like they don't stop until Park.
All these people are deaf.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, like all in the confined space, all that bang, bang, bang. Like, I need ammo. What? I said I need ammo. What?
What?
Like, this goes on, but they don't get a breather until Park gets the idea to like some of everybody's T-shirts and light them on fire at like at the entrances to get the mosquitoes to back off.
Yep.
And they're like,
they said, "Go ahead."
They're like, just like the little ones, they're afraid of fire. I was like, no, duh, they're just giant. Doesn't mean they don't still operate by the same rules, just bigger.
You also had a good point. You said like that, like those clothes. The fire's only going to last for so long.
Like,
yeah, go ahead.
The amount of clothes that they had, in each of these tunnels, and since they lit them on fire and nothing to actually keep them, those things would be burnt up and done with in a matter of minutes. Like by the time they finished the conversation after they started the fire, the fire would be out because they would have already burnt the clothes. Like, they had this little conversation of trying to discuss, like, they're hypothesizing and trying to discuss what their next move is and all that. And, like, by the time they ended that conversation, their clothes would have been all burnt up and the mosquitoes would have swarmed them.
And somehow they were just supposed to last until morning.
Yeah, and
morning better be in 30 minutes or less.
Like, here's how that situation would have really gone. They talk and finish the conversation, realize, oh no, the fire's out. The mosquitoes swarm them, kill them all out, and like Hendrix is like, not like this, not like this. Thank you to anyone who got the reference to to the movie I was referencing.
Was it Sharktopus?
Oh my gosh, you got it!
I didn't see the whole thing, but I did see enough to get that line.
Congratulations, you get to keep your $20.
Nice.
I can't take money from anyone who knows that reference.
Do we get into the part where Gunnar Hansen has a giant stinger into his
yeah, we got past that. Yeah,
his stomach, and yet he just takes it out, and he's still walking fine, like there's nothing wrong with him.
He takes this, like, it takes him a good minute and 2 minutes to pull this proboscis stinger out of his gut, and I'm like, okay, you have like with how deep that is, you can't just sew up the surface and you'd be fine. You'll bleed internally. It's one of those things you have to get someone to fix that up from the inside out, because otherwise you're gonna bleed out anyway. And like this thing was deep, and for that matter, I forgot to mention that Hendrix got stabbed in the thigh by a mosquito, and it got knocked off of him. So like he has a gaping wound in his thigh that he would have bled out in minutes from. Just a rag tied on to it to stop the blood. He's fine, just limp. But at least he remembered to limp where Gunnar Hansen didn't at all.
Yeah.
But
I was I don't care if it only got like the no offense to Gunnar Hansen, but
the surface fact.
he's a big guy.
He
like,
can
even
play
if
Santa.
it barely, even if the most damage was to the layer, like the skin and layer of fat, no organs, you're still gonna be in a lot of pain.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have your hand, hold your hand there. You're gonna huddle. You're gonna huddle for a little bit. Hobble. That's it. You're gonna wobble. You're like, nope. He was fine. Just a flesh wound.
But even after all this, like through this whole thing, like Patrick Swayze has been in Gunner's face, and like, hey man, if I wasn't so tired, I'd kick your ass, and like this and that and the other. Like, you want to go, bro? Like, I'm like, dude, I know you're doing a lot of cocaine in between scenes and you're hyped up, but you're coming across as the idiot that wants people to think he's tougher than what he actually is. And the minute he actually gets into the fight, he goes down. Knock it off, because you will be proven wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Because like if this guy and Gunnar Hansen were gonna go, he would get a lot of hits in. But the moment Gunnar Hansen got a hold of him, it'd be done. They go exploring the woods a little bit, and they find the last house on the left that turned out to be the house from the original Living Dead.
Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah,
the farmhouse.
And they board up the whole place, and they're like, Hendrix, go check out the basement. He's like, what do I have to do? He's like, just do it. So he goes out and down and checks the basement. The first 5 feet of it. And he's like, it's good, and just hobbles out of there. And then you see like a shadow of like an egg on a door. They're going about their business, like boarding everything up, and they start to have some levity and just start talking. And this is the part where I call BS. I know, like, all of this, and this is where you're calling BS? Yes. Like,
yeah, I'm calling
like,
BS on this.
So Parks is talking about how like he used to be tough, he's not tough anymore. This is the kind of situations where you find out if you're tough or not. And like they're talking. He's talking. He's like, one of them's like, "What'd you do? What, were you in Nam?" He's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Bullshit." And then like Hendrix,
how does a meteorologist that you met randomly in the woods just all of a sudden go out and he says, "Oh, I was a Vietnam vet, even though I don't look like I'm 50 or 40
That's not what I'm
years
calling
old."
That's not what I'm calling BS on. He doesn't look old enough to be in Nam. The only one in this
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. He doesn't look like he's 40 or 50.
The only one in this place that looks old enough to be in Nam was Gunnar Hansen, and he doesn't say a word about it when this comes up. In fact, even one Hendrix, who's like 25 to 30, maybe, it says he was in Nam. I'm like, y'all are full of crap. Because this movie was made in 95, and there's no indication of that it doesn't take place in the time that it was made. Not Vietnam was like, what, 70 what?
Okay, it started in 1964, and it ended in 1973.
Okay. Gunnar Hansen is still the only one old enough to actually been in that. Even if it was just even if these people were in the last couple years of the war, they are still not old enough to have been in it.
Correction. My correction was wrong. It was from 1955 to 1975. Sorry, I'm a little off.
The point is still made. Park, maybe, like the last couple years. Hendrix?
Yeah, like
No
in
way.
74 or 5, but no, not in the early years.
Vietnam or no, he does not look like he served any terms. Not to diss all the mosquito butt that he kicked, but the way he was acting, he's just a bumbling idiot. I mean, he's the crouching tiger, crouching idiot, hidden dumbass. I mean, hidden badass.
That too. But all we're just trying to say is that if we're just thinking that if he was in the Vietnam War, that mofo would have died.
So here's the thing: the two that kick the most mosquito butt in this entire movie is bootleg Patrick Swayze and Hendrix. They're the ones that kick the most mosquito butt, and he handles a firearm very well. He was still not in Vietnam. He is too young to have been. For lack of a better way to put it, black people do not look their age at all, for the most part. And it's not racist. That is actually a compliment and a fact. Mm-hmm. So it's very possible that Parks is older than what he looks. Because to me, he just looks like he's like in his mid to late 40s. Mid 30s to early 40s. That's what he looks like. Still way too young to been in Vietnam, which he says he did 3 tours. Okay, I don't know how long tours are. I don't know all that. So, just saying he still looks too young. It could be one of those things. He's older than what he looks. Most black people look like that. I knew a guy, there's a guy at the place I work that comes in all the time. He's 63. He looks 40. And I was shocked when he said that because he's Arnold Schwarzenegger built. But I'm not kidding. Him and the bartender were talking, and as him and the bartender are exchanging words, I'm just poking his bicep, and he sees that and he just chuckles.
Okay. Actually, to answer your question from earlier, in the military, a tour of duty could last anywhere between 6 to 12 months, which is a year, and up to 15 months, which is about a year and 4 months. A soldier who has a family will experience a tour of duty that lasts at least 36 months. So yeah, he would have been in the war if he took 3. If he took 3 tours, he would have been in there for
the 4 years,
probably. Huh?
The last 3 years, at least.
Yeah, last 3 or 4 years.
Why is military people that have family in the why do their tours last so long? You would think it'd be the other way around.
I think he meant that's as far as they go. That's the cap.
That's as far as gotcha. That's as far as they can go is 36 months.
36 months, in one tour, or 36 months maximum is segregated.
Yes, maximum. That's the maximum.
Maximum segregated.
Gotcha. That's interesting. So after 36 months, you can't go back.
No, if you have a family.
I do want to make light of one final joke.
Okay.
That Patrick Swayze said to liven up the mood when they were talking about what really makes a person tough in their life experience. Parks was I grew up in a neighborhood where you had to be tough or at least be good at giving the impression that you were, so no one would mess with you. Surviving stuff like this, like the mosquitoes, that makes you tough. Tours of duty, that makes you tough. Yeah, to lighten up the mood. Not Patrick Swayze says I used to be a Cub Scout, trying to get all those get the whole entire sash of all those merit badges. That's tough. And everyone's. Oh my God. And I can't remember the exact words, but basically everyone they all had a laugh that they needed.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
they weren't belly laughing, but you could tell they were holding it in.
It's also around this time that Gunnar Hansen comes into the room with a chainsaw cover, and he's like, look what I found in the work shed. I haven't held I haven't held one of these in 20 years. And,
Now you know that was on purpose. You
it
know that
absolutely was
on
because
purpose.
here's the thing:
Mhm.
they someone did the math. I was watching a podcast about this same movie. I've watched it many times because it's just enjoyable. But they said that it actually was 20 years because the last
Since
time
Gunnar Hansen.
So
Yeah, go ahead.
anyone who doesn't know, Gunnar Hansen is Leatherface from the original, very first Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie from the 70s. He is the original, and apparently he never held a chainsaw again until this movie, which is the reference. And then he sword fight a mosquito with the freaking chainsaw, and it is glorious.
And you should see that thing is like huge.
Also, he has one of the best lines in the whole movie. Life's a bitch.
I was trying to hear what he said, and Tony Uzumaki, dude, you spoke just as he was saying it. I couldn't hear it, so I rewound it, and then found out that's what he said. I was like, oh well, that was worth it.
Life's a bitch.
But
we'll get to the context in a bit.
yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. So what they do next is the mosquitoes start attacking, and they get in. Some of them start to get in, and oh no, before that, because this is important. Before that, like there's discussing how many shotgun shells they have left, and they only have 5, right? They give Hendrix 2, and like, I have a stinger up my butt. I have a bum leg now. I have been drugged through the sewers, and all I get is 2 measly shotgun shells. So Ray just puts another shotgun shell in his hand. He's like, it's wet, and it's got bug goop all over it. And it's just, it looks like, it's like, shut up, Hendrix. So the bugs start getting in, and one gets up on the jump on Hendrix, and he gets on him. And Ray is right by him. He's calling out, Ray, help me, help, get it off me. Ray's got the shotgun pointed at the mosquito, turns to the window right by him, sees the mosquito there, turns the shotgun and shoots the mosquito outside the window that can't even get in, then look at the mosquito on top of Hendrix, grabs the wings and rips off the wings and throws the mosquito aside, and then Hendrix pops up, shoots it 3 times with the shotgun. I was just sitting there thinking, was Ray hoping that the mosquito would off him if he wasted a couple seconds? Was he trying to give the mosquito a little bit of time? Ray, I think you're a sociopath.
Yep.
Like, he just got plastic surgery to look more like Patrick Stewart. It's like, I was almost in Roadhouse.
Yep.
Like, he tried out for
Stewart.
Roadhouse, didn't get it, and lost it to Patrick Stewart. And Patrick Swayze. And he got plastic surgery to look more like Patrick Swayze. And so he's just letting that loss eat at him for years and years.
So anyway, like the reason why the mosquitoes were attacking this time, as the crew is like gathered together, you notice like a lot more buzzing than before. The camera actually shows what I described earlier, like they drew it like 2D animation, but it still gives you that information like, oh, we're in trouble. A whole outside of that house is covered with the mosquitoes before they start breaking in. While they're like hiding and like figuring out what to do, that's when they realize like, oh, we're in their nest.
Yep.
And I can't remember, like, was it after the first attack or just before they attacked? When they find out, like, oh, there's actually mosquito eggs in the basement.
They find out during.
Right.
Was it during? Oh,
It was during, because while they're reboarding up the windows, they hear something in the basement, and they're like, what was that?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm not right very often, and I very much enjoy when I am.
No, you are. When it comes to stuff like this, you're on the ball.
I know, and I don't know why. Everything, all the other times in my life, I suck.
You always said that when it comes to stuff that I think your aunt or someone said that when it comes to stuff that's important, you can't remember, but when it comes to meaningless stuff, you're right on the ball.
I am my uncle's nephew.
Oh, I do have to like make a point. I like how like these people like this group fighting off the mosquitoes. They're like more prepared than the typical typical like zombie survivor.
Oh
They
yeah, where
broke the
everyone's a dumbass and stuff.
yeah, they tore up the windows inside and outside. A lot of good that did, to be honest. But my
Well,
point
these
still
are
stands.
mosquitoes, not
Oh
zombies.
yeah, did we talk about the car scene about the RV,
Yes.
the running
Yeah.
car?
Yes.
Yes.
So they go down there and they realize this entire place is filled with giant mosquito eggs, and it just pans out at like a slow zoom out pan, and like just shows the surroundings, and I'm like, oh, I saw this in Aliens, and then I was I was looking at it, I was like, I even said, didn't I? Like those eggs look like penises. Like they're like
They look like
I
they're-
missed that. I was too busy thinking about. I've seen this in a movie. Get the flamethrower.
they're a little girthy, a little they have the head, all right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not on the nose like those pods from Man of Steel, but they have a head. And then they see a mosquito being born, and they nope out of there, and like it gets stuck through the door
door.
and just gets stuck there, and they come back. Wait, so after that, they're trying to plan on, okay, what are we gonna do? How do we get out of this? And they come to the decision of let them in. We'll blow the place up, and we'll trap them inside here while we get out and set the whole place to blow. Okay, great. And then like they describe how they're gonna get out. And I'm like, y'all are stupid and overcomplicating this thing. All you need to do, let all of them in. Like, block yourself off into one area where y'all can slip out while they're still too busy getting in and getting to you. They can't do anything else. That's all you have to do. Instead, they set a timer for, first of all, for 3 minutes. And I would have set it for 5 at the least to give us a little bit of breathing room. But I don't know. I'm just wild and smart. I'm just practical. Okay. But, what they're doing is taking this dumbwaiter with the thinnest rope I have ever seen in my life, and they're taking them one by one up to the roof and then jumping. Okay, the only two in this group that are going to be able to take the dumbwaiter without breaking it is Ray and Megan, the boyfriend girlfriend. They're the only two small enough that can pull it off. Hendrix isn't going to get up there. Parks isn't going to get up there. Gunnar Hansen sure as heck isn't going to get up there, much less
He's too heavy.
Much less even fit in it. So they're getting them on there. They get Megan and Ray out. Gunnar Hansen's keeping the door shut, and while they're trying to poke through it, they get Hendrix in there. Well, the rope breaks, obviously, and he's like, "No, not like this, not like this."
Like, I liked Hendrix. Yeah, here's the point I'm making. Say what you want about Hendrix as a character. Like, he did not. I mean, he died a sorry death. Like, you don't even see a crash. You don't hear anything. You just see the camera is like right above the dumbwaiter. You just see it like go lower and lower, but then it cuts to the next scene.
Well, you know what
No
it
crash, no explosion, no body.
No, nothing.
Well, you know what happened,
it's-
right? You know what happened. The entity saw this and plucked him out of there and took it to its realm where he has to fight with all the killers and be one of the survivors.
Oh, from Dead by Daylight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's exactly what
my
happened.
my friends were
That would
playing
explain
game
a lot.
last night. Broke his controller.
Yeah, the entity, that makes a lot of sense. We did forget to mention that, like, part of the plan, like we got the point across that they were going to blow the place up. So like what they did was like they found all the places where the propane tanks, like the propane pipes were, broke them so they would like leak out. They had like a bunch of ropes where they would pull out the boards on like at least 4 windows. So like that would cause all the mosquitoes to swarm in instead of like, trying to bottleneck it in one spot. Parks, like to like make the bomb, he basically converts his Geiger counter and like pulls it apart so it would like cause a spark and everything.
Now, I want to know how he knows how to do that. Because if he
you
knows how to do that, he is a very scary man. I do not want to know what he has been up to before the events of this movie.
Yeah.
He scares you that much? He scares you that much?
Yeah. So while Ray and Hendrix were down there in the basement because they had to destroy the pipelines in the house and in the basement, as they're leaving the basement, Hendrix is like, I am not coming down here again. Well, you soon ate those words.
Yeah.
But
Life's a bitch.
and that's when this comes in. Is like as soon as like Hendrix
Park and Earl
quite
or
heroically, Gunnar Hansen without even hesitation grabs his chainsaw and turns it on, and says like, "I'm gonna go save your friend." And it's like, "It's too late. He's dead. You'll die too." It's like, "Life's a bitch." I'm like, I rewound it just to hear that. Okay, thank you.
yeah.
And he just saws through the door and like heads down into the basement and starts sword fighting all of these mosquitoes at once and wins. And then
There's even one scene where he decapitates a stop motion mosquito.
So, and what he does is like he's dancing and swinging around like he did at the end of Chainsaw Massacre. That's what that was about.
Oh, yeah.
That's what that was about. And then he just like starts to get a little overrun, and I couldn't tell if that mosquito on this beside him, like, because he's fighting one, but there's another one beside him in a close-up. I couldn't tell if that was supposed to be attached to him starting to attack, or if it was just hovering there, waiting for an opportunity. I'm assuming it's the latter because Hansen wasn't reacting to it as an attack. And then, like, he does start to get overwhelmed. He just throws the chainsaw, and it sparks against the wall, the stone wall, and the whole house explodes. But as this is going on, Parks is starting to freak out because he's surrounded by mosquitoes. And this movie makes a reference to a movie that was made 30 years later, and it's glorious.
Yeah. Yes.
He starts taunting them to attack him and kill him, Arnold Schwarzenegger style, which was made a few years before this. He like realizes there's a refrigerator right next to me. Again, at the same time, Ray and Megan jump off the roof and onto the ground, and that's when it explodes. And
it was the most pathetic jump ever.
Yeah, it was very. It was filmed very badly.
The first scene,
they did not jump the same height.
Yeah. You could tell that, like, the first scene when they were revving up, you could tell they were on the roof. The scene where they land, you could tell, like, oh, they just jumped off a bench or something.
Yeah. The house explodes, and they start looking around the wreckage and hear coughing and all that. They go into their house and open the refrigerator, and lo and behold, Parks is inside the refrigerator. Thank you, Kingdom of Crystal Skull.
I get that it's a meme, but to this day, I still don't really think it was. I don't really get how it was really bad. I mean, if there was a bomb it was going to go off, that's your last resort.
Like, what makes it ridiculous is supposedly Indy survived an atomic explosion.
The movie actually just ends while walking into the camera, and it fades to black after they pull him out.
Yep.
Yeah,
like that. Like you did it, Parks. Like, no, we did it. Like, let's get out of here. Fade to black.
So that was 1995's Mosquito. What did y'all think about it?
I liked it. I thought it was your typical mid or early 90s B movie, but it was fun. I mean, I like the special effects that they made with the movie. It looks like something that would be in Fangoria magazine that used to be released back in the day. It had some. Sure, the dialogue and the acting was not the best, but it was fun. It was fun in a so bad it's good kind of sense. Like when you're watching the Leprechaun movies, you can't take it seriously. That's the fun of it. Yes. Is that you don't have to take it seriously. And if you do, it makes the movie less fun.
We might also have to do Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which...
That's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Which the people that did... I won't get into it now, but the people that did those effects for those clowns also did the effects for the trolls in Ernest Scared Stupid, which we will also be doing this month.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
was it? I was gonna say something. Oh yeah, what my thoughts? No, it was fun. Like knowing what I know about movies. I'm kind of repeating what I've said earlier, which may or may not be in the final cut. Some of the acting like could have used some work. Some of the characters' motivations like were all over the place, or they didn't make as much sense as they could have. Despite the flaws that the movie had, the stuff that they did right. From the animatronics of the mosquitoes to like the physiology, like right down to the sheath that mosquitoes have on the proboscis that like unsheaths when they're about to feed. They did a lot of stuff anatomically correct and accurate. Like there was effort that cannot be denied. And last thing, like even with the characters' faults, I will admit there was not a single character that I hated.
My closing thoughts are: it's a well known fact that I just genuinely love bad movies. They put so much effort into these mosquitoes and things that they didn't need to put effort into that is just phenomenal, and it shows. And I think because of that, they didn't care about how developed their human characters were, because that wasn't the point. They knew because that their characters weren't going to be deep, they needed to be entertaining. And that is what this movie is, entertaining. And whether a movie is good or bad, for whatever reason, as long as it is entertaining and you're entertained by it, the movie has done its job. Regardless. Mm-hmm. This movie has done its job. It is very entertaining. Parks, I was like, you are a madman in disguise, and you hide the monster within. Ray is off doing cocaine every time he's not on screen. That's why he's so itchy for a fight. And his girlfriend's just an idiot that thinks she's smart. Gunnar Hansen is my grumpy great grandpa.
Hendrix Jr.
I don't care about Junior. No, Junior is actually the best actor in this entire movie, for as little bit as he is in it. Hendrix is me if all of my worst character traits were my dominant character traits. And, well, that's it, guys. I'm glad that y'all were able to join us for this, The Wild Side, in its new format for the next few episodes at least, until we can figure out what exactly, if we want to continue like this and have the live shows for like special occasions. But thank you for joining us, and I hope that y'all enjoyed this as much as we enjoyed the movie. As you can see, we enjoyed it very much. But
please let us know your thoughts, everyone.
But as always, walking the wild side doesn't mean being stupid. Have a good night, everyone.